What's up, my peoples, man? We back with another video. Today, hold on, give me 1 second. I'm trying to back out of here safely. Give me a second. All right, y'all. Today we back with another video. In today's video, I'm gonna be talking about why you need to be okay with being the villain in some people's stories. Like why you need to be okay with being the villain in some people's stories. So I'm sure many of you guys have been in a situation where you probably felt like you did nothing wrong, or you probably felt like you were the one that was being taken advantage of, you know, and things like that. And and I ain't gonna lie, if you are one of those people, I'm just do like this. If you are one of those people, you're not alone. Trust me, you are definitely not alone, because unfortunately, people have this tendency to want to only view you as like a bad person. And most of the times what I found out, the reason behind this is because they already look at you a certain type of way anyway. And if they, sometimes with certain people, if they admit that you were a good person and you were kind and you were like nice to them, then that threatens the fabricated story that they built of you in their head. So in order to keep that fabricated story alive, and in order to keep it somewhat true, they have to make you the villain, because their ego will not allow themselves to admit that they were wrong. And unfortunately, it is annoying. Like, some people in this world just have really big egos, and there really is nothing that some of us can do about it, except to just, you know, distance ourselves from these people and, you know, things of that nature. But one thing I've also realized as well, you have to really be okay with being the villain in some people's story. And the real reason why I say that is because, like I said, some people just have it out to hate you no matter what. But sometimes, you know, especially if you're like a chosen one, you will be seen as a threat to most people. Unfortunately, you just are. Like, with the way you're built, because you have a certain level of anointing. Like, you have a certain anointing over most people, and most people just can't fathom the fact that you're just you're this pure-hearted, nice person, nice, kind individual that would legitimately not even hurt a fly. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, they can't fathom that because, you know, they're just not that kind of person. You know, they're probably someone that looks to take advantage of other people. They're probably someone who's a snake. They're probably someone who, you know, doesn't even have regard for most humans on this earth, if we're being real. But, you know, at the same time, that should not change who you are. You should still keep being that nice, kind-hearted person that you know you've always been, right? You shouldn't let other people's insecurities or triggers, you know, make you feel some type of way. Because at the end of the day, that's all people try to do. They're gonna throw their insecurities on you. They're gonna try and trigger you. They're gonna try and make you feel like you're crazy just for being yourself, you know? And if they have to make you feel crazy for you being yourself, I think that's just more about them than it does about you, right? You know, obviously assuming that you actually are a nice person, right? So I think that's just more about you. I mean, about them, sorry, not you. About them than it does about you. Because, you know what I'm saying, you're just minding your business, you don't even do anything wrong, and then you got all these people trying to make you feel some type of way just because they feel threatened by your light. You know, it's annoying, I get it. But we have to be okay with being that way, 555, as I say that, we have to be okay with that happening, because truth be told, we're not here to please people, right? We're not here to please people. We're not here to make anybody feel good. You know, obviously we're not bad individuals, of course, but at the same time, you know, we're individuals. As chosen ones, we're individuals of truth, you know, and the truth will always be a threat to somebody that chooses to live within a web of lies. And when somebody chooses to live within a web of lies, there's nothing you can do to convince that person that what they're doing or saying is wrong. There's just nothing you can do. Because at the end of the day, they don't want to see the truth. They don't want to know the truth. They don't want to know, you know, the real behind, you know, certain situations, because they've built up this fabricated lie in their head. And because your truth threatens that lie, they can't agree with you. You know, unfortunately, they can't agree with you, because agreeing with you would mean that they would have to admit that they were wrong. And most people in this world, they can't do that. I ain't gonna lie. They just simply can't do that. So what they end up having to do is turning against you, making you the villain. And in some cases, they may even get a group of people to turn against you. If they're even trying to do that, let me let you guys know right now. If they're trying to do that, understand that you are doing something right. Because like I said, as chosen ones, we are not obligated, but we have a duty to walk in truth. We have a duty to bring enlightenment into this world, you know? And if somebody has to go out of their way to make you seem like a bad person, when you know deep down you're not a bad person, you're doing something right. You're doing something right, you know? And that just means you're threatening whatever fallacy that they've created in their head. And that's not your issue to deal with. That's theirs, you know? At the end of the day, they got to be the ones to deal with that, because that's the life that they've chosen to live, you know? And not to say that some people do this intentionally. I mean, some people may do this unintentionally, but the fact still remains that, you know, at the end of the day, there really isn't much you can do to change these people's minds. These people want to see you as the villain. These people want to see you as, you know, a bad person. And if somebody wants to see you as a bad person, there is literally nothing you can do. Nothing. Not a single thing you can do, you know? And you have to be okay with that, because if you try to sit here and be liked by everybody, you will be liked by nobody. I can promise you that. As somebody who used to be a people pleaser, if you sit here and try to be liked by everybody, you will be liked by nobody. Nobody will like you, because there's always going to be people who don't like you, right? But regardless of whether there's people that like you or not, you need to be focused on being the best version that you can be, right? So at the end of the day, you know, if these people want to choose to view you a certain type of way, let them. You know you didn't do nothing wrong, so there's no need for you to plead your case. They've already made their minds up that they want to view you in a bad light, you know? So don't sit here, don't stress about it too much, because at the end of the day, it's not going to really change anything. You know, these people, if they've made their minds up, and honestly, these people just aren't meant to be in your lives anyway. You know, at the end of the day, who wants to be friends with somebody who, you know, thinks that way? I surely wouldn't. So yeah, that's just my whole 2 cents on, you know, being the villain and things of that nature. So hopefully this video helped. Like I said, this is probably gonna be the first official video of the channel. I'm gonna try and post every other day, so I can like at least get into the algorithm. Or if you guys think I should post every day, let me know. And I can definitely try to get some content in for sure. Because I mean, I definitely do feel comfortable I definitely do feel like I should be speaking on topics like this, because that's just what I feel like I'm called to do. And I'm gonna follow my calling, whether people like it or not, you know? Like I said, I'm not here to be liked. I'm not here to be a people pleaser. No, I'm here to speak the truth, you know? So like one of my friends told me, don't be a nice person, be a kind person. You know, so, but yeah, I'm gonna cut the video here. I love you guys, and until next time, peace out.